I want to welcome everyone and thank you all for coming to this very important evening. Last year, before the Yom Noraim, I attended a presentation given to Jewish community leaders by Commissioner Ryder at the Nassau Police Academy. I was so impressed after hearing him, and I remember thinking to myself, if only the entire community could have had the opportunity to hear what he had to say.
I want to take one moment to recognize the good that we are fortunate, blessed to have in our West Hempstead community. We should not take for granted that we have an incredibly dedicated, friendly, engaging, concerned police department. Not only are they ever present, you can see them driving around, always being mindful past the shuls, stopping on a random day. You can find any one of the patrol cars stationed outside one of the shuls in the community because they simply care.
I stand here tonight in representation of the various groups that keep everybody safe here in our community. Whether it's CSS, the Community Security Service, which I'm one of the trainers, or 613, or our abundant group of other volunteers that work in our kids groups, that stand outside our buildings, that stand inside our buildings, that practice lockdown drills, that do everything we need to do. Those partners and that partnership is crucial to the success of not only keeping everybody safe, but everybody feeling safe. So we on the security teams hope that when you come to Shul, when your kids come to Shul, that you feel safe, and that's the goal. Our police department is our go-to when everything we're doing to prevent something from happening, to detect something from happening, goes wrong. Thank God there have been very few incidents where we've had to call the police, but when we've had to call them, they respond. And I've called myself personally on behalf of the Shul several times, and never have I gotten, oh, you shouldn't have called, oh, you're wasting our time, or anything but professionalism and respect and responsibility. And for that, I appreciate it.
But if you have a situation that doesn't necessarily need an immediate response like 911, what the county has put together, and we're going to be handing out flyers a little later on today, but they'll look like this, and I'll go over it with you very briefly. It's called Stop the Hate. And again, we remind you, call 911 immediately if something's happening of an acute nature. But outside of that, we've created a phone line, actually a hotline that you can call. I'll give that number out, but you'll have it on the flyers. It's 516-500-0657. It goes right to our intel section. You can call that number, you can text, you can send photos. It's a dedicated bias incident hotline that we've created, and that will be on the flyer, which I hope you begin to share. We'll put that out nationally. I'm sorry, on the media very soon, but you're probably the first to hear about it right now. We've also created an email address, combatbias@pdcn.org, and you can send information and photos to that dedicated bias incident email. That's going to be monitored by our intel section. They send those reports to me directly, to the entire patrol executive division, and to the detective division executive board, which will ensure that an officer is responding to your home or your location. They'll document what has happened. We'll take the information that you provided, whether it's phone information that you've gotten, whether it's photographs or even pictures that you have regarding anything that you see out there. Again, that's not of an immediate nature, and we'll begin an investigation with that. And the slogan will be, if you recognize it, report it, let's stop it together.
Classifying something as a bias crime is an aggravating factor, which means that if we can establish that the motivation for that crime, the motivation for either the criminal mischief or the assault or the harassment was based on somebody's sexual orientation, somebody's ethnicity, somebody's religion. If we can establish that that was what prompted the assault or prompted the criminal mischief act, we can then charge them with an elevated crime, and that way, if they are convicted, they will be facing further penalties from the courts, right? So it's not just that there's criminal mischief is a bias crime. You have to have criminal mischief and the intent, right? I hope I've clarified that. In Nassau County, what winds up happening, and I'm going to explain it from two perspectives. If Inspector Crawford, one of his officers, gets called to your home and you see some damage to your car or to your property, and the officer responds, and the officer makes a determination that it appears that this might be a bias incident, he is going to call down a patrol supervisor, because if it's a bias incident, we not only have the police officer taking the report, but we have a supervisor there to make sure everything is well documented and a further investigation takes place. So far this year, right, there have been 23 bias incidents in total.
Sorry, how many?
11 of them were anti-Semitic. Of the 11 that were anti-Semitic, 7 of those were swastikas that were either recently put up or frequently they are recently reported. And the reason why I make that distinction is a lot of etchings or swastika symbols may have been there for a while, and then somebody sees it and they report it to us. Of the remaining ones, we had 6 cases that were anti-black, 2 that were anti-white, 1 that was anti-Asian, 1 anti-Muslim, 1 anti-Jehovah Witness, and 1 anti-gay.
Just want to introduce myself. Just was assigned here a few days ago. The 5th Precinct, though, is it has been my home for the majority of my career. I spent a lot of time here as a police officer. I came back as a lieutenant, and I'm ecstatic to be back as the inspector. I look forward to working with the community, meeting everybody, and just touching on what you are our ears and eyes of what's going on out there. The quicker, the more, nothing is too small, or just get the word out to us, and we're there to help. All right, thank you.
We're very lucky to work hand in glove with NYPD intelligence. We even have NYPD detectives that are assigned to our unit that we work with every day, not just on counterterrorism issues, but in criminal matters as well, because of course we share a common border and we all deal with the same people. The second thing that we're very lucky to have here in the county is a police department that takes its intelligence operations seriously. Intelligence wasn't really a big thing in law enforcement until 9/11. After that, most mid-sized to large police departments kind of incorporated something of an intelligence unit in their agencies. As far as all of our extremist groups go, we cover all of them across the spectrum, but it has been the neo-Nazi era, starting in I'd say about 2015-16, has been robust across the country and worldwide. Some of the groups that we have, and we do have some here in Long Island and in the tri-state area, are mostly affiliates of national groups. They've changed their tactics. This isn't, the laughable kind of brown shirts that you see from like the Blues Brothers. And you remember that movie where they kind of march around and sing songs and stuff. This is a different breed, and it comes from the Unite the Right rally back in 2017. I don't know if you remember this in Charlottesville when they had a riot down there. This was part of the beginning of what they thought was going to be a campaign by a large national group at that time that they called Vanguard America. It's a neo-Nazi group that had been around for a long time, and they thought that this was their moment. This was going to be one of many rally-style demonstrations they were going to do around the country. Unfortunately for them, and unfortunately for everyone, it turned into a total riot.